I'm here to pick locks and chew bubblegum. And I'm all out of... So the lock I have today is a really interesting one. It's another lock in the box of awesome that Joshua sent me, and it's the Millenco Magnum made by Yale. Before I go into the lock and how it's made, I want to talk a little bit about the symbols on the front, which are pretty interesting. So this heart-shaped symbol here is called the Kitemark, and it was originally conceived in 1903 to identify products that were manufactured to meet British standard specifications. It's an insignia of quality in Great Britain. You can see here the B on the top symbolizes British, the S symbolizes standards, and the V here is for verification. So it's kind of an interesting symbol, and it was registered as a trademark on June 12th, 1903, and as such is among the oldest quality marks in the world still in regular use. The other symbol on here is the star, which is actually an EU symbol of quality. And as I understand it, I asked Huxley Pig 69, and he said that there can be up to 3 stars. And so 1 star indicates a pretty good lock, but 3 stars really is the best you can do. And I did a little bit more reading on that, and it seems to me the stars are mostly about snap resistance. Now, I can go on forever about locks, so I will. This is a really interesting design for a couple of reasons. First off, we have 9 key pins and drivers that are situated at a 20-degree angle to vertical. Half of them coming in 20 degrees this direction, and the other half coming in at 20 degrees this direction. So on the bottom, we have 9 pins to deal with, offset by 20 degrees. And so that puts them in there in a staggered arrangement like that. If we look at the key, we can kind of see how the dimples are arranged on this side, and then we have a slider over on this side, which interfaces with 4 sliders on the upper left, up here, which then operates a sidebar, which is on the very top of the lock. Mercifully, that sidebar does not have false gates in it, so that makes things a little bit easier on us as we try to pick it. The most challenging part about picking this lock is probably keeping yourself oriented in the keyway. Those 20-degree offsets can be a little bit confusing, and then if you look at this particular lock, almost all but these 2 pins are set very, very deep. So when the pin is set, it's pushed almost all the way to the bottom of the plug. Having 9 of them in there with those 20-degree offsets, if you are trying to set one and your pick slips off of it, it can be very hard to find it again in order to get it to continue with the setting process. So for me, at least, that was the trickiest part. So anyway, I think it's about time to transport this thing to a vise and get it picked. Okay, let's see if we can get into this Millenco Magnum. I really like the key. I like the slider cut on here. In this lock, the key pins are much more difficult than the sidebar pins. Probably just because there's so many of them. They've got that 20-degree angle thing going on. And the keyway is not small, and so it's kind of easy to get lost in there, especially with the depth. Can't tell if I overset that. Almost all these sets are really deep, so you got to push the pins way down, which makes them hard to find if you need to come back to them. So if your pick slips off as you're trying to set it, it can be really tough to find your way back to it. Okay, so that's a nice little false set that kind of indicates to us that we're on the right track. Sometimes there is a spool left over, but I don't feel one, so I'll move on to pick the sidebar fingers. And those guys give us a little bit of counter rotation and then seem to set without too much hassle, if you can find them. pick sliding out of here. Okay, we got a couple of them set, I think. There we go. Okay, and we're open. Okay, let's get it. I'm going to close this back up so that I don't make a mistake and the lock explodes. These sidebar locks, you almost always have to take them out with a key in them, otherwise bad things happen. I use my new, to me anyway, circlip remover, which has made life a lot easier in some ways. And we'll put the key in. Let me get my pinning board out and stuff. Alright, how am I going to do this? This lock has so many parts. So this may be a little while as we cut this lock. There is a lot in it. And keeping my finger on the sidebar down here. And let's put this in here. So you can see here the 9 top pins. And then if we move those around, on the bottom is the sidebar. And then here are the sidebar pins. We'll put that aside for now and pull the top pins out. Let me come down just a bit. Alright, position 1 looks like a spool. Position 2 looks standard. Yeah, let's do it like that. Position 3 looks standard. Position 4 looks standard. Seems like we got a lot of standard in here. 5 standard. 6 standard. 7 standard. 8 standard, and number 9 is a spool. Kind of a strange little spool. Looks like it's about all the springs. Okay, let's dump the top pins out first, and we'll go. Let's go do the same thing this way. There's 1. Oh, that's 2 actually. 1, 3, oh, that's 4, 5, there's 6, 7, 8, oh, 9, or that's 8, and that one's 9. Okay, so those are all the key pins. Take this sidebar out. Oh, and I got a sidebar spring stuck to it. like a little grease or something on that sidebar spring, and it wants to stay. Okay. Let's get that one out of there too. I don't want to lose my little springs. Okay. And now we'll remove the sidebar pins. That's 1, 2, 3, and oops, and that's 4. Okay, I think the lock's gutted. I do have sidebar springs in there, but hopefully they stay in. Come on down for a close-up. Okay, so normal chambers for the sidebar pins, and a little cutout for the sidebar. Looking down the core, there is no threading or anything. Let's see if I can get a little bit of light in there. No threading or anything. It's just your standard core. And then a lot of standard pins with the exception of this spool. And this maybe mushroom. Anyway, it seems to have a little lip on it. The sidebar pins are kind of interesting. Again, we're not talking about any false gates. They only have the one gate. And they're just shaped with that one area in there. So let's come all the way in. We'll first thing look at the sidebar pins. Okay, so there's sidebar pin 1, 2, 3, and 4. Key pins 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7, 8, and 9. Drivers 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Lots and lots of parts on this lock. I've never picked a lock with as many parts as this one. Oh yeah, and the sidebar. Let's show off the sidebar a little bit. It's nothing too special, really. It's just a little rectangle of metal. But, okay, that is the Millenco Magnum. I will be giving away this lock. If you go through the video and you'll find a question, go ahead and answer it in the comments below, and then the date specified, I'll pick randomly from those comments and send it off to you. All right, hope you guys enjoyed this. Thanks for watching.